Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
I'm not here to make any excuses about the behavior, but I think it's important to remember that it is a great tradition. It is a great rivalry. It's an honor and a privilege to coach and play in that game, and we need to treat it special. I told the team, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's how this team will be remembered, and there's a lot of football left to be played.
In the 115-year history of the storied rivalry between Michigan and Michigan State, there's never been a post-game incident like the one that occurred in the tunnel at Michigan Stadium following the Wolverines' 29-7 win. And as a result, Mel Tucker suspended 8 of his players. He initially suspended 4 on Sunday, but after reviewing more video of the altercation, he handed out 4 more suspensions on Tuesday. These events from Saturday have consumed his entire week, and it's where we begin our chat.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to say that we respect the rivalry. We respect the traditions of the Big Ten and, really what this game, means. And, I'm not here to make any excuses about the behavior during the game, those incidents. But I think it's important to remember that it is a great tradition. It is a great rivalry. It's an honor and a privilege to coach and play in that game, and we need to treat it special.
It seems like over the years, maybe within the last 5, and I don't know if this is because of social media and just how people are able to banter back and forth, whether it's a fan base or players and they see it, but how much do you think that it's sort of hurt the rivalry and what it should be when it comes to the build up to the game and how people just maybe get so charged up for it?
Yeah, well, my experience in rivalries is that that's the nature of rivalries like this. Places that I've been, whether it's, Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, they're like highly, charged. Emotions are high. The fan bases go back and forth. It's not just game week, it's the entire year. It's 365. Everyone has something to say about it. People are choosing sides, and it feels like more than just a game. And so with social media now and everyone able to project their voices in so many different ways, I think it just adds to the rivalry. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. The traditions of a game like this, and they're very, very special. And I think we have to keep that in mind. We have to embrace that. What happened Saturday was unacceptable, and there's no doubt about that. And so we'll move forward, but we'll always keep in mind that these rivalries, this one in particular, is very special and it's important to a lot of people.
Well, right, and nobody wants to see the events transpire the way that they did after the game. As a result, you suspended players. What went into the decision to suspend them, and do you feel as though that is the accurate way to go about a punishment for them?
I got with our athletics director, Alan Haller, also reached out to the Big Ten office and got as much of the evidence that I could. Everything that was available, Sunday morning, I received, and I spent pretty much the entire day, on Sunday, reviewing the information, came to a determination that this was the next right step to take, was to suspend the players. We're all about trying to do the right thing, integrity, transparency, accountability. And so, that was, those actions really point to, the values of this university and our football program.
What all goes into a suspension for a player?
A suspension for our players means that they still have academic support, they still have access to all medical services, but they won't be participating in any of the organized team activities. So they won't be in our meetings, they won't be in practice, There won't be any strength and conditioning, no weight room, and they won't be playing in games. And so that's really what suspension in this case entails.
The suspensions were effective immediately, and they will remain in place until the investigations are complete. Additionally, all 8 players are defensive players, and going forward, the one the Spartans are going to miss the most is linebacker and defensive end Jacoby Windman. The senior transfer from UNLV started every single game this year, and he was also the first player in program history to be named the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week 3 times in one season. So where do the Spartans go from here? Tucker explains when we come back.
As we go to break, Farm Bureau Insurance invites you to register to win an exclusive private dinner with head coach Mel Tucker. Go to InsideTheGreenSweeps.com to register.
Want unlimited cash back on every single purchase you make? With an MSU FCU Platinum Plus Visa or an MSU FCU Visa Signature, that's what you'll get. Unlimited cash back. Choose from a variety of card designs, redeem your cash back at any time in any amount, and enjoy benefits like an exclusive welcome offer, travel accident insurance, and roadside dispatch. Get your MSU FCU cashback card today. Just stop by a branch or visit us online at msufcu.org.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
At 3-5 overall and 1-4 in Big Ten play, this season has not transpired the way Michigan State had hoped it would. And due to the events in Ann Arbor, the Spartans are going to be without several of their key contributors on defense. Despite it all, though, number 16 Illinois is on the clock, and it's where Mel Tucker and I pick up part 2 of our chat this week. You don't know when the investigation is going to be done. It is pending. So in the interim, how do you keep everybody just focused on the fact that you still have a lot you still have games and you still have Illinois on the schedule, and just to kind of maintain like the laser focus?
You know, it's November, and I told the team, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's how this team will be remembered. And there's a lot of football left to be played, a lot of good teams. And so we still have a lot to accomplish. And so our challenge is to remain focused on the task at hand. You know, how we prepare, you know, how we train, you know, our mindset and our mental disposition towards competing, you know, on the road, a great Big Ten opponent. And so, you know, it's communication. It's helping the players understand how to keep things in perspective and help them understand where their focus needs to be. We've taken a one day at a time approach to preparing for this game, and reminding our players that what's always most important is what's next. You know, what actions and behaviors that we take, you know, on a day-to-day basis that create the outcomes that we want. And so our players understand that. You know, we're embracing the challenge. You know, we're handling the adversity. And what this team has seemed to be able to do this entire season is stay together, become even closer, and find a way to prepare like pros. And so I have a lot of respect for our team in that regard, and this week is no different.
What do you hope comes from Commissioner Kevin Warren and the Big Ten Conference? What would you like to see from them?
Yeah, well, you know, I trust Kevin Warren and the Big Ten Conference. I trust, you know, our university leadership, and I know that they're going to do what's best, you know, for everyone involved. And so whatever those things are, I'm going to support them 100%.
Now, as we just sort of transition here to Illinois in itself, the game prep in itself, they are on a win streak right now, enjoying probably one of their best seasons in quite some time. Brett Bielema, what is your relationship with him, and what do you think of Brett as a coach?
Yeah, you know, I've gotten to know Brett over the years, just through being in the profession. Coaching is a very small profession in terms of interaction, as you can imagine. You know, everyone knows everyone. And so I know Brett to be a great football coach. He's old school in a lot of regard, based upon watching his teams play over the years. His teams are very tough. They're always fundamentally sound when they play hard. I'm not surprised at the success that they're having. They have a lot of good players in all three phases, and they're very well coached.
Your defense has been making some improvements. You've seen it transpire over Wisconsin and then against Michigan. You're going to be going up against a similar type of running back to Blake Corum in Chase Brown, a potential Heisman hopeful. At least that's what he would probably like to see, how his season would transpire. So how does that help you when you kind of go up against a similar back from one game to the next?
Yeah, he's a great back, and he's having a heck of a year. When you play when you try to defend a player of his magnitude, everyone's at the point of attack on every play. Inside, outside, front side, back side, everyone's got to be on top of their game. We have to do a great job of setting the edge on the perimeter and building a wall inside to make sure that we take away any seams and run lanes that he may have. I'm not sure how realistic it is to think that you're going to totally stop him, but you have to contain him. He is what I call a game wrecker. If you let him loose, he's going to take over. So it's a huge challenge for us.
More than anybody, you know that as the head coach of the program, it starts and ends with you. You've mentioned that several times in your career here so far. You've owned that accountability aspect. How much more does that get reiterated in a week and in circumstances like this?
It's always easy to be in charge when everything is going well. But when you have adversity, you have challenges, that's when it's really important to lead and to step up. And that's what I aspire to do every day.
Saturday's meeting between the Spartans and Illini will be MSU's first trip to Champaign in 6 years, and they are definitely going to have their hands full in Heisman hopeful running back Chase Brown. All right, we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to sit down with MSU women's soccer coach Jeff Hostler, or as he's better known as these days, the Big Ten Women's Soccer Coach of the Year. We'll see you soon.
Closed captioning sponsored by Hearing Life, helping Spartans love their ears. With 41 locations across Michigan, go to hearinglife.com to take a free online hearing test. Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
One of the biggest reasons why the MSU women's soccer team is enjoying its best start in program history is because of its ability to rise to the occasion in big-time moments. The Spartans won their first ever Big Ten title this year and are primed to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. It's what excites head coach Jeff Hostler the most, and he sat down with our Nick Mantis in a spot where he fell in love with MSU.
We're here in Jenison Fieldhouse, a spot that's familiar for you, not just because now it's your office, but you also grew up not too far away from here, going to East Lansing High School, and we're sitting right now in the seats that you guys had as a family, your season tickets every year. What's it kind of like being back in this row?
It's pretty wild, to be back here. We are obviously very fortunate to be able to come to games for me as a young kid, but this is kind of a different vantage point for me, Nick, because facing this way is where the game was happening. At my age, I was typically turned around drawing on the glass blocks back here, and then turning around when I heard the roar of the crowd a lot of the time. So this was something that we came as a family, or I came with my dad, who is really, really important person in my life, someone that he helped foster my love for athletics and the life lessons that it teaches. And basketball is my first love, but obviously that continued through soccer and baseball and other sports throughout my youth days. So be up here is pretty cool. I like this idea.
When it comes to actually sitting in the seat that you guys enjoyed watching games in, and now you think about where you are here as head coach of the Big Ten champs, what does it mean to you to kind of have a more of a full circle moment, but also kind of look back on the journey that it's taken to get here?
Every day I drive onto campus and pull in the Jenison parking lot, and it takes me back. You walk into Jenison Fieldhouse, particularly here in the arena area, like it just has the same smell it had when they played basketball games here. it really does take you back. And, you know, I'm lazy in my old age now, so like I take the shortcut from my office through this to get out to the field, but I also do it intentionally because it's a daily reminder of, you know, how life can work that way. I think if you do things the right way, you know, good things tend to happen. And I've said it many times, Nick, I'm just so blessed, so honored to be able to coach here. It's pretty surreal for me, and really special with what we're doing right now.
There's certain things you can kind of look back on and say, wow, like this is really cool that we'd be able to achieve this. And one of them, you being named the Big Ten Coach of the Year. When you got that announcement, was there kind of like a, okay, this is something I never would have thought of?
Yeah, I was thrilled for our three players. You know, they got their you know, their big awards, their positional player of the year awards in the conference. I think that's incredible for me to have that recognition in a league with as many elite coaches as we have. It's really a reflection of our coaching staff and our extended support staff. You know, I'm blessed with what I believe is the best coaching staff in the country. We've got incredible strength conditioning coaches, nutrition. That's all just a reflection of the work they do on a daily basis. So I'm honored to be recognized for it, but certainly recognized. And that's really just a collection of everyone's efforts.
Looking into the NCAA tournament, what are things that you couldn't be more excited about when it comes to this team, knowing you were close to having that experience of an NCAA tournament last year? Now you actually do have that on the horizon, and it's just passing every expectation that you thought, okay, this is where we need to be as a program.
Well, I think it helps in building a program because missing out, being one of those last four teams on the outside looking in and not making it a year ago, I mean, it hurt. You know, we brought everybody together. We watched the selection show. To not hear our name called, I mean, that's an emotional experience. But for the group that was here in January, they were super grounded. They were hungry. You talk about a spring season last year for all these players. That's the first time because of COVID that they've gone through a full year cycle of fall season, full off season. And so it's long. It takes a lot of stamina. But we kept talking about how it's going to pay off in the future. And now you got a group that's playing November soccer, going to be playing the NCAA tournament, likely hosting a match, that has that stamina built up, that knows what it's like to train for 4 months instead of 3. I think when we have that first NCAA tournament game, they're going to be flying around playing with that same type of hunger and desperation.
The Spartans will watch the selection show on Monday to see where they will be seated for this year's NCAA tournament. And one player who was instrumental in helping them get to this point was senior forward Lauren DeBow. She joins us next on the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Michigan State senior Lauren DeBow has become a household name for those who know and watch Big Ten women's soccer. The Shelby Township native was named the Big Ten Forward of the Year, and while she's enjoying lighting it up on the pitch, she told our Haley Schoengart she'd like to see her name in the lights once her soccer career comes to a close.
The entry from Gaynor, and it's DeBow with a big smile on her face.
You're a Michigan gal through and through, born and raised here, played at Central Michigan University. Why Michigan State now?
When I decided to leave Central Michigan, it just wasn't working out for me, you know, soccer-wise. As soon as I went in the transfer portal, I was waiting for Jeff to call me. I was really set on going to Grand Valley and finishing up there. And then, yeah, he called me back. And he was like, actually, I got the job at Michigan State. Do you want to come here instead? I was like, yeah, my mom's an alumni here, so she was super stoked. And I am a Spartan fan, you know, like in my younger days. So it was just so cool to get the opportunity to come here with Jeff and kind of start building like a new culture and a new program.
And this season, you have made a name for yourself. It's been one for the history books. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of Big Ten play, the Illinois game. You book your first career hat trick as a Spartan, and you do it in 11 minutes. What was that game like for you?
Yeah, I mean, that game, I remember being angry at the way the first half went, and Jeff always says I play way better when I'm pissed off. So just coming back out, that second half was just kind of like, we got to get it in. You know, it doesn't matter if it's me scoring, just try to get opportunities, and my teammates set me up. I mean, every single one of those goals, my teammates either gave me a really good assist or cross ball in. So they put me in those positions, and then I just got to finish them.
From then on, you all really dominated Big Ten play. Going into that Ohio State game, did you know that you all would have the opportunity to take the Big Ten trophy back to East Lansing with you that night?
I had no idea, no idea. So it was absolutely surreal. I'm pretty sure my face in most of the videos are like looking around, just hugging my teammates. It was awesome.
On top of all of this, you are named Big Ten Forward of the Year.
I'm not a huge person that's like, oh yeah, Forward of the Year and post it everywhere. I think the real reason I got that is because of the team's success. It's a really team award to me. Because they put me in that position.
And Lauren DeBow and big plays are constantly seen in the same sentence this season. What is it that attracts you to these opportunities that have the potential to be the big plays that you've made?
I literally think it's Kobe Bryant, like the Kobe Bryant in me. Kobe Bryant was like my hero growing up. And like for some reason, when it's like comes down to crunch time, it's like the Mamba is in me, and I'm just like, this is for Kobe. Like, I gotta do it. And I think that helps me, just my mindset, the mentality of it all, just to kind of show up in big games.
You want to be a filmmaker post-college.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about where this profession idea has come from.
Yeah, well, ever since I was a kid, I've loved movies. I just find storytelling to be like incredible, whether it's, comedy, mystery, whatever story it is, it's just something that I've always kind of been drawn to, and like my favorite thing to do is go to the movie theater, whether it's by myself or with friends. Like that's like kind of my place where I just love.
And you've got some experience making movies with the soccer team.
So last year I did a little short film with my friend Maya with the team when we went to Nebraska and Iowa. Just like, as I didn't really take it too seriously, I just wanted it to be funny and kind of bring the team together. And when we showed the coaching staff, they loved it so much. So I'm like, okay, next year I have to really up it, like up the antics, get maybe some costumes, some props. So this year, yeah, we went full out. We kind of planned it. I wrote like a mini screenplay about a murder mystery on the team, and everyone on the team's on it, all the coaching staff too. So it's like a great way to kind of bring everyone together and laugh and kind of let loose a little, and that was a great weekend for us too, because we won against Penn State and Maryland, and then to top it off with the movie was a good day.
As always, we thank you for being with us for this edition of the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show. Have a happy and healthy weekend.